Space. The
Hello.
final. What?
Hello.
Who are
It's
you?
me, Ringo Starr. I'm thinking about getting the band back together, but I've heard that John and George are dead. And according to the internet, so is Paul, so it's just going to be me. So I was hoping to maybe get some of that amuse-bouche and just kind of eat my sorrows away. Hello. Have you ever been to Liverpool?
This is the worst thing to happen on November the 6th.
It's really fucking not.
Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission, until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior, to review every episode and movie of Star Trek in existence, to seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable, to boldly go where many other YouTube Star Trek based shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good future, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers. Welcome to another recorded episode of Trekking Up North. I am one of your hosts, Captain Goodwill, and joining me, as ever, is the delectable Yeastian from the planet Home.
Honk! It's Ringo Starr.
It's Ringo
Hello.
Starr.
Hopefully one day I'll be narrating Thomas the Tank Engine.
I loved it when you narrated Thomas the Tank Engine. Why do we sound like we're from Lancashire?
I don't. It's probably because I'm fairly limited with the
I
accents
think
I
our
can
range is
do.
about limited, isn't it?
It's fairly. It's if only it was the incomprehensible range of scanners in Star Trek,
You know,
where they just seem to work based upon plot devices.
You know the dark episode where Thomas's friend Henry got bricked up in a tunnel.
Oh yeah, I
That's
remember
as
it well.
shady as that. I like that. Why do I sound like Gary Barlow? This sound, this is my
What
idea
are
of a
these?
great day out.
This is. Oh, I maybe might go and get a 99, but
Welcome to Trekking Up North. I'm your host, Captain Gary Barlow of the U.S.S. Take That.
but to be fair, if anything, it's because because of the terrible news that we've had earlier in the week, which is that America has the forest has voted for the axe yet again, and we presumed the IQ of a nation was far higher than it was. Um, yeah, we are kind of. It's all we've been able to do is basically laugh about the horrible, horrible situation in the world because yes, I have been having to comfort a fair few American friends on this very dark, dark time for a lot of them. So let's have a bit of a laugh and let's just enjoy what we have before it's all taken away.
Now more than ever, the world needs Star Trek, and we are
Yeah,
here
and
to review two
speaking
fantastic
of wonderful
episodes.
things about to be taken away, Lower Decks. And
Yeah,
after these two incredible episodes that we're reviewing today, we're just sitting here being like, why is this not getting renewed? Like, why is this not getting another season? No reason, eh? Okay.
these two episodes, because obviously, as you can probably tell, we are doing them back to back. We both
Hmm.
have very hectic time. What do they call them? Time. I don't even know the word. I am that tired.
I, I,
Um,
I feel like all
Hectic
those people on
schedules.
I feel like all those people on the internet who just want to undo tweets that they sent years ago
Yeah.
about me being like, hey, once Mixed Drag's over, I'm going to have way more time and I'm going to be able to be like on the podcast regularly and we're going to be able to have them live on Fridays. Have I fucked? Like, has that is totally not the situation whatsoever. In fact, I was far better at being consistent having Fridays free to do the live recordings than I am now, and it's just embarrassing at this point. Just being like, "Yep,
um,
when I
Normal.
told you I would be free, I
I've just
lied."
I've just realised my light's off. Hang on a minute.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
oh,
porn
he's put
mode.
his light
On.
on.
There we go.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so normal service will be resumed when we review episode 5 next week. It's just been a little bit hectic, hence why we are reviewing episode 3 and 4. And obviously, this is recorded and you will see this on Friday, but we are recording ahead of schedules. partly, well, all thanks to Paramount Plus, who has been incredibly generous in giving us advanced screeners of the last season of Star Trek Lower Decks. So thank you very much, Paramount Plus. And if you don't know already, you can catch the latest season of Lower Decks only on Paramount Plus. Links in the description below. Well, we are here to review episode 3, The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel. And
can I just say that is an
amazing
amazing name. That is an amazing name.
They do love their homage names. They really do.
Well, both of these. This first one is a play on Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, and then the other one is a play on A Farewell to Arms. It's they love a pun.
Well, we had Parth Ferengi's Heart Place, didn't we, last year in the Inner Fight? But yeah, we'll get straight into episode 3, where the Cerritos is at the Cosmic Duchess, a hotel/resort the size of a moon, that has everything and anything. This is like Butlins on steroids for a load of people, or a clean Pontins. And we see that the Cosmic Duchess currently has, I know something that's
a clean Pontins. It's like,
I know it's
that actually hurt me at my core to be British. I've never. I'm not ready for a world where this dickhead's in charge for a second term, and also the idea that there might be a Pontins out there where someone's had a wash.
Let's just not mention a dickhead and then camps.
Wow.
His family is German. We are so the
visions for 2025, everyone. Fucking hell. Anyway.
Hurry up, Vulcans. So the Best Exotic Nanite Hotel, the Cerritos, is at the Cosmic Duchess, a large hotel/resort in space, the size of a moon, and it is currently experiencing a nanite infestation. So the Cerritos is there to retrieve this infestation. A good little A plot with the B plot of Ransom, Billups, and Boimler tasked with retrieving an AWOL Admiral, Milius.
Yeah.
I genuinely laughed out loud at this episode. It has some absolute bangers all the way through. With Billups like Billups trying to come with his alias name Manhandle.
No, where they're working out what aliases to do, and he's like, "I'm going to be Gilbert Manhandle."
Manhandle. With a gambling addiction.
It just sounds like a name from like a romance novel. You know the novels where they have like the man with like the torn clothes and the abs
Chesty
on the front.
McBeefsteak and stuff like that.
Chesty McBeefsteak. Yeah, it's like Gilbert Manhandle. But I love that it basically just plays with Billups's like blatant like sexuality, like just like his bisexuality. And he's just like, no, we will just play with this.
Yeah, he is so unbelievably bisexual. It's so obvious, and I'm here for it. Chesty McBeefsteak is obviously Adam, so hi Adam. Gravy McBeefsteak is Lee, you disgusting human.
I hate that I've been so busy this week that I haven't even had a time to personally enjoy the photos of Lee naked in a bath of gravy. Which is just
it is
it's one of the things to dare a fool, but then to witness it happen, it's just the most brilliant thing in the whole world. And we are privileged to be part of Nerdy Up North, where all this madness happens.
Lee was
if you don't know everyone, basically Christopher and Lee, who are from the Nerdy Up North network, who do Top Grumps together, they had a bet between each other which had different challenges, and Lee lost the bet, and his penalty was that he had to do a naked bath in gravy.
I'm trying to find the picture without the nipples.
I don't think. Well, the hilarious thing is that Lee posted a full video of him in the bath on TikTok, and then it got removed from TikTok because it was nudity, because you could see his nipples. And I'm just like, so hang on, you'll happily have stuff about supporting Trump or stuff about flat Earth or whatever on TikTok, but we can't handle male nipples. I mean,
I'm going into the group chat. Keep talking. I need
to find. Don't do this. We don't want to waste time with this.
We do want to waste.
You're gonna
time
get cancelled.
We're not going to get cancelled. After today, nothing can get cancelled.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, we're all doomed anyway. So
Behold,
the
Treks and
world is burning.
Trekkins.
Let's masturbate. Is that a
Yes.
Yorkshire pudding on his head?
Yes, that is a Yorkshire pudding. No, that is not piss. That is
It's
gravy.
not.
Hiding the nipple is the nerdy up north. Hello,
We
my
are.
name is Lee. Please don't
Hello.
make me do this again. I've got a UTI of Bisto.
Hello, my name's Lee. I'm just like, eat me on a Sunday.
Pisto. Yeah.
So that's a thing that happened.
Yeah. So, Billups is obviously bisexual. That's the moral of the story.
Like it's
So,
nothing.
yeah.
Just back to the episode. Okay.
But then the other plot is on the away mission with Mariner, Tendi, and Rutherford. Jennifer, the Andorian, is tasked with going along, and she is really shocking Mariner by kissing her on the cheek, going, "Hey, babe."
This is the bizarre thing, and I was having a laugh about this, about the you can massively liken this to real life situations because
Yeah.
we've got like where basically she just appeared out of nowhere after they broke up ages ago, and then she's acting like they're still together, and Mariner's just like, what's going on? What's going on here and stuff, and then over the course of the episode, it kind of gets revealed that actually it's because she felt like they didn't actually have a proper breakup in her
Because they
opinion,
didn't.
and
Yeah.
yeah, because they didn't, and therefore she needs to have a big scene. So she needs to have a big sort of argument or something in order for them to break up. So she just decides to be like absolutely cloying.
It's a it's a great little callback, and it's very self-referential, this plot, because there was a lot of blowback to the writers for just dropping the Mariner Jennifer relationship. And there was a lot of blowback from that, so it's very self-referential that they've gone in and they've actually just addressed this head on. And it's just like, hey, yeah, because Mariner thought she broke up because she just walked past her in a bar and ignored her, and that's it. And it's just like, oh right, so she didn't actually break up with her, she just stopped talking to her. And it's sort of referential at the fact that these two were together and then they just weren't, like they just stopped. And it's great because we see that Jennifer is like of the point of view of half the audience, where they're just like, no, we're still together. Like, you never told us that we broke up. You never actually had the conversation. And all the way through the episode, we see that they start, like, Mariner realizes that they didn't actually break up, and Jennifer's trying to goad her into this argument. And towards the end of the episode, we see them actually have the argument and then say, I am officially breaking up with you. And she's like, I accept. And it's like, it's great because we know it's the final season of Lower Decks, and this is like one of those loose ends that the writers were tying up, shall we say, because it was heavily criticized that the relationship just disappeared out of the show. So for them to sort of like bring it back a year later and say, oh yeah, sorry about that, this is actually what happened. And again, it's Lower Decks, the brilliant writing of Lower Decks, where it takes these situations, it takes these difficult fan questions and just deals with them head on, like with the whole Nick Lacano thing, and the whole oh god, I can't bloody remember it now, the peanut hamper and everything like that. They just tackle it head on. They don't shy away from making a second contact with that plot point, and I think it was absolutely brilliant.
I think it's great that they put this in, and it does allow closure between the relationship, because it also says a lot about Mariner, where it's the fact that Mariner's like, hey, we haven't talked for ages, so of course she knows that we're broken up, and you're like, does she? Like, you know, it sounds as though you've totally avoided the responsibility of actually sort of closing that point of your life off, kind of thing. And it says a lot about Mariner.
Yeah, it's very much that she doesn't want that type of confrontation, and she feels like just avoiding it will make it go away. Like sticking your head in the sand never makes something go away. You must deal with it head on. However uncomfortable or unpleasant it is, you must deal with it head on. I love Tillin in this episode with her obsession of Krog the Rock.
I have to say, like Tallinn is a character. I said it last week, but it's the fact of Tallinn is a character that has just grown on me so much, and
Yeah,
it just felt very weird that she kind of got put in as like a sort of placeholder character, being like, hey, like Mariner's not here or Tendy's not here, kind of thing. Therefore, there's this new character. But then
yeah.
they proper fleshed her out, and it's yet another great example of how you write a Vulcan. Like how you write a Vulcan character, and it's great in this one where we get to
She's
see a bit
just
of a crack
being
in the armor where there is something that she actually really likes, and it's something obscure, which is this Krog. What are they called? Vibe pipes? Yeah, vibe tubes. There we go. Yeah. Oh no, he's back.
What do you think of Lord Exley? It's fucking mint, that like. Right, but yeah, so we get to see a chink in her armor with the vibe tubes and Krog the Rock, and
Mm.
I love I love the bit at the end where Tendy gives her the signed autograph, and she gets to meet Krog the Rock as well.
Yeah.
And he's like, in my never-ending quest to seek chill, I practice Vulcan logic. But she gives like Tendy gives her an autograph of Krog, and she's just like, this has no like scientific value. And she's
No,
like,
no,
oh,
she's like, this picture has been defaced.
yeah. It holds no value. It holds no scientific study. She's like, oh, well, I'll take it. No, no, I will keep it in my quarters on display for future
Yeah.
study. I love her so much in this season.
I think it is. I think it's wonderful though that Lower Decks the writing is so incredible that it manages to make every character memorable. Even these characters that we only get for one episode. Like that's the thing. It's like in the second episode we're going to talk about, it has these characters. Well, in the first one we have characters like Krog. In the second episode we have the Klingons and stuff, and you're like, these characters could be happily revisited. These
Yeah.
characters could happily be regulars because of how well they're written and how endearing they are, and yet they're and yet they're probably not going to be. So
Yeah.
it is brilliant.
The plot with Ransom Billups, sorry, Gilbert Manhandle.
Yeah, but the problem, but, but Boimler, Ransom, and Gilbert Manhandle.
But
That's
here's the
the.
thing. Here's the thing with that plot,
To be
though.
fair, Ransom, Boimler, and Manhandle sounds like the weirdest legal firm you've ever been to.
Or the best legal firm. But here's the problem with this one, because as they're about to board the civilian shuttle, Boimler sees one of his ensigns who has lost both of their hands and blames Ransom solely
Yeah.
for this because he made him pick up a rock and he got swarmed by bats and had both hands cut off.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, we're like canaries down a coal mine. He always chooses us for the dangerous missions. So Boimler's got it set in his mind that Ransom has only picked him because it's going to be a dangerous mission, and he's essentially the expendable red shirt.
Yeah.
But I love, I love the Rise of Bar scene where the brief, because what they are doing, they're trying to find an AWOL Admiral Milius, who is on the Cosmic Duchess, and they're trying to trace him down and bring him back to the fleet. So they go to this Rise of Bar, and Billup says, oh, he charged like a few hundred cocktails to this bar, so someone who knows him must be here. And we actually get to see the alien race that Jadzia Dax dated with the transparent skulls.
Yeah.
And I can't for the life of me remember their name. But we actually get to see them for the first time in Star Trek. But then Boimler looks at them and goes, yeah, no, I'm not going to speak to them.
What happens is Ransom says, hey, you should go and get some information. You should go and speak to them. And he looks at them, sees how savage they look, and just goes, nope, I'm going to speak to those nice people over there who are playing like volleyball kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes, hey, I'm going to speak to the safer people. And then it turns out that they're Cretaceans? Cretaceans, which we haven't seen since Enterprise, right?
They are from 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. And
God, with a log cutting.
With the log cutting and the dreadlocks. And their USP is that they find consumption of food and drink, very much like he's doing right now, disgusting in a taboo way. So it is worse than having the sex essentially in front of someone. So they find it very distasteful, very rude, and very disgusting. So Boimler goes over, and obviously he's got his alcoholic drink, and they are absolutely disgusted. And then he just gets one of the crab cakes and just starts eating. And they're just like, "Oh, absolute filth!" And Ransom has to step in and apologize on behalf of Boimler, and he's just like, "What are you doing? Those are cretaceans. They find this sort of thing taboo." And he's just like, "Oh, I totally forgot." And they just walk away, and she's like shielding her eyes. She's like, "Absolutely disgusting." But it's a great callback because it's an alien race we haven't seen since Star Trek Enterprise.
The whole thing, and this is what Lower Decks does brilliantly, where it just goes, "Hey, remember this?" And it's not just a remember berry. It's basically it's a full-on kind of going, "Hey, we're gonna flesh out this thing more. We're gonna take these races that we only mentioned once, and we're gonna flesh them out." And yeah, I love it.
Yeah, they are in the universe. They will exist, so of course you're going to see them around the quadrant.
I mean, the other thing is that the bizarre thing, another Enterprise reference, is that the next thing they do is they're following a Denoblian skier, and is the only Denoblian we've ever met. I can't pronounce that. The other one of that race that we've met is Phlox, right?
No, we've met another one in season 4 of Star Trek Enterprise on a Denobulan science vessel.
That requires me to remember season 4 of Enterprise.
You need to watch season 4. Also, speaking
of
Enterprise,
washing my hair. Oh no!
Yeah. Huge shout out to someone. Please clip this. Huge shout out to Hero Within, who finally, it has been a long road getting from there literally to here. They have delivered my Star Trek Enterprise jacket. Look at this beautiful jacket. Yes, okay, stop looking like you... Okay,
it's just like the idea of someone clipping it and me being like, "Bro, the whole advert, I'm just looking like that."
Look at the lining, which is an actual blueprint of the Enterprise.
Crazy.
It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. And what makes this jacket so amazing, it has functioning pockets everywhere. I think it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I think half the girls in the chat just
6,
swooned.
7,
functional pockets.
8 functioning pockets. This is an arm pocket. Look at it. It's got a zip. Look at that, with an actual pocket.
I think I just came
with it. Hero Within, everybody. They have Star Trek Enterprise jackets, Star Trek Picard jackets, Section 31 jackets, Strange New World jackets. Hero Within. Google Hero Within. Sponsor us, Hero Within. Back to the episode. So yeah, the ski scene is my favourite scene in the whole goddamn episode. I cannot stop. I have seen this episode 3 times now, and I cannot stop laughing at this because Ransom sets Boimler to go intercept this Denobulan skier to find out where Admiral Milius is. And Boimler can't ski that well. And he's chasing after the Denobulan, and he just loses all control, and he grabs hold of an alien's back, and he's like, "Can you help me down the mountain, please?" He's like, "Why are you holding my genitals?" "I'm holding your shoulder." "That's where my genitals are. Where else would they be?" But when he falls off the cliff, and you just hear this scream, this high-pitched scream.
But it's just the fixed shot. It takes the fixed shot, and you just see him sort of slowly fall while screaming. It's perfectly done humor. It's so incredible.
Oh, it's so funny. It is so. Every single time I watch it, I just break out laughing.
I think it's nice that it's punctuated by the Denobulan coming over afterwards and being like, "I've never seen anyone survive that fall."
Oh, I love it, but yeah, he drops him in it because he's like, "Oh well, that's my Starfleet training, being in space. My bones are less dense." She's like, "Oh, Starfleet," and she runs away, informing the Admiral that Starfleet are here. So Ransom is naturally pissed off, but luckily Billups has been able to intercept the signal, which leads him to Camp AWOL.
Camp AWOL, man.
But they
The
have
whole
to
thing.
get there
And
via a lazy river, which I absolutely freaking love. How long is it going to take to get to the cab? Judging by our meandering rate, about 15 minutes.
They're just on these inflatable rubber rings, just coming down a lazy river and stuff. And then obviously Ransom
Oh my
like
God.
sends Boimler into the dangerous cave or whatever, and Boimler's like, "Why do I have to go?" But then all the rafts get burst. They end up in the water, and they end up captured at the camp.
Yeah.
So they all end up chained up at Camp AWOL. Uh, I love also that it's like they've got it where it's like welcome Latinum elite guests,
I know.
and you
Yeah.
realize the equivalent of like platinum guest.
Yeah, yeah. But I see that we see that Boimler confronts Admiral Milius because Boimler is just absolutely he's sick to death because he thinks he's
Yeah,
going to be the expendable one and stuff like that. And he confronts Admiral Milius, who went to AWOL because he never got any of the desirable, fun, exciting missions. His fleet was assigned to milk space whales. And the first thing that Boimler goes, "Oh, are you on about the tin can?" Or and he's just like, "All of them! I'm an intergalactic dairy farmer." I just love that Starfleet has a fleet that just milks whales.
but I think the worst thing is even at the end where we get the resolution of the A plot and the B plot in this, it just has it where like has another character being like Admiral Bilius, but in my dimension you only milk whales.
Oh, not in this one. No, 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 no. Oh yeah,
Oh my
so
word.
he convinces Boimler to essentially stay at camp at AWOL and basically convinces him that Starfleet would never give him the desirable missions. They would just
Yeah.
use him, that he's just expendable. And Boimler, with his recent events with Ransom, is sort of accepting of this. And I love the fact that Ransom has to convince Boimler that that's not the case. And, you know, you are you are wiry as hell, and we need someone who is extremely unhealthily prepared and wiry as hell on every mission. and I love the fact that when he convinces Boimler just lathers himself in sunscreen to be wiry as fucking slippery as fuck to get to free Ransom and Billy.
Yeah. So he runs over to free them, and everyone's trying to grab him, and they're just slipping off him. And it reminds me of the greased up deaf man from
I know,
from
yeah.
Family Guy.
You're never going to catch me.
It's just like, how does this plot exist? But
It's so funny though.
But effectively though, they capture Bilius, and then and that's the conclusion of the
Well,
B
no,
plot,
because
basically.
they surround Ransom
Oh god.
and Boimler, and the Admiral is going to like all the other guests. He's like, kill them, murder them, sacrifice
No,
them.
I wrote it down in
Oh,
capital letters. It says, "Quick, my acolytes! It's almost happy hour." It's the amount of quotes in these two episodes.
or the one, or like when the guests are just like, yeah, we're not going to do this, and the other one's just like, oh, I've got to get back. My wife thinks I'm at the buffet. Oh my god, I absolutely love it. But yeah, so they capture Bilius, but then the main like central plot is this nanite cluster that has been getting bigger and bigger throughout the hotel because it's consuming energy, and they don't know what type of energy it's consuming or why it's doing it. And they try and trap it with with a box and a plasma stick. And they try and catch it with like a charged crystal, and it doesn't work. And it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets to a what did she get, an icecahedron or something?
Well, either way, it grows bigger and bigger until it's basically a D20.
Yeah, it is a D20.
It's basically a D20, but I think the hilarious thing is this whole section just reeks of the Katamari game. If you've ever
Yes!
played them,
Katamari!
it's just going around the town, consuming everything, and then
Oh
growing
my
because
god.
of it, and it's
It
so
took
surreal.
3 weeks for me to realise that's Katamari. Thank you so much. I've been sat there for 3 weeks going, what does this remind me of? It just clumps everything in a ball. It was a game. And I just didn't
Yeah,
Google it. But yeah, it's Katamari. Oh my god, yeah. And it's essentially going around the resort, just like absorbing as much as it can to like
yeah,
try and absorb as much energy. And
yeah,
Rutherford, Tendi, and Tillin and guests and all that are getting sucked in. Um, and Rutherford has an idea, like there is something to, I have a plan to break down the cohesion of this cluster. And Jennifer and Mariner have to work together after they're reconciled, after they have broken up.
yeah.
They work together to actually jump in to the nanite cluster, and they have the vibe tubes from Krog, and they just sit until it just like play. And it's the
Yeah,
weirdest noise as well.
it's very surreal for something that a Vulcan would be into, but I love
Yeah.
it. I love that they do this bit.
So
But yeah, but it breaks it all apart, and they all manage to escape from it. But then they find out that actually there was something controlling the whole dodecahedron, whatever it is.
the D20.
There was something actually, yeah, the D20, and it turns out to be a very, very tiny Intrepid class starship called the Endeavour.
Yeah. So the Endeavour was a Starfleet vessel from another dimension that was brought into a quantum fissure, as we saw
Yeah,
from the first episode, and has not been able to get back and recreate that fissure again. So what they were trying
yeah,
to do is amass enough energy to create this fissure, obviously not realizing the destruction that they were causing. And it's a great little twist to go, well, actually, it wasn't meaning any harm, and it's not robots. It's literally someone's coming from another dimension where their dimension everything is smaller,
yeah.
and they need to find a way back. And this sort of gives Admiral Milius a redeeming mission. Instead of milking space whales, his mission now is to get these people home. And I love the fact, like, as you mentioned, the captain of the Endeavour is just like, Admiral Milius? Oh, you're in our universe too, except there you milk space whales. He's like, no, not in this universe. No.
It's just really good. And then the episode ends with them all in the bar, and Tallinn gets her autograph gets Krog's autograph, and then we get to see the ensign from the beginning, basically just seeing Ranson's there in the bar. And Ranson's like, "Hey, where's that ensign? We need to go on another dangerous mission." And then it's going to be fun. There's going to be magma, and then all you can hear is the ensign crouching behind the bar, being like, "I just got these hands." Like the amount of one-liners in these two episodes is absolutely incredible. But I have to say, I love that episode. I thought it was really, really good, and it's just another strong episode for this season. It's absolutely fantastic.
Moving on to episode 4, A Farewell to Farms, that is primarily based on Kronos. This opens in a very unique way, very much the way that Peanut Hampers episode opened in the previous season, where there is no opening credits or anything like that. It's just the lower decks over a beautiful sunset on Kronos. Captain Mach is central to this episode. For those that don't know, Captain Mach was featured in The Inner Fight, the penultimate episode of season 4, where Mariner was stranded on the planet after being captured by, obviously, Nick Lacano. And Captain Mach's crew mutinied against him, and we find out in this episode that he was dishonorably discharged from the fleet because his crew mutinied. So it's great. Again, this is Lower Decks not shying away from revisiting these characters
And tying up loose ends.
And tying up loose ends and following the plot. So we see that Captain Mach has gone back to his family farm where they make blood wine, ironically, out of blood worms.
Yeah.
Which is
confusing.
It's confusing, but it also makes sense because where else would you get blood wine other than animals? But
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that they also eat the stuff that produces the wine. So they eat the gach, which is the Klingon worms, and the gach also produces the blood wine.
I suppose it'd be like us eating grapes, though, wouldn't it? In a weird way.
I guess. I thought you were going to say Greg's. I don't know why the northern Andy was just craving a sausage roll.
I do quite like, though, that this little section here, we get to see a little insert into Klingon life, because the thing about the Klingons in Trek is we only ever get to see them how they are, like, as war beings or whatnot. So the wonderful episodes where we get to see a Klingon scientist, or we get to see a Klingon temple, or we get to see like a Klingon farmer, and we actually get to see Targs, because I was joking about this the other day about the fact of, like, we get to see a Targ in Star Trek 3, is it? Like the movie where Christopher Lloyd has a pet Targ? And it's like this
dog. I don't know what to call the dog.
I thought that was meant to be a Targ. And then in the next generation, we have it where Worf's pet Targ, like as a boy, kind of appears, and it's basically just like a pig with some stuff stuck on it. So it's great in this episode that we get to see actual animated Targs, and this is why they should continue making Lower Decks, because it allows you to sort of flesh out the universe with stuff that you probably couldn't do properly in live action, such as show what Targs are like.
It's just incredible, because all the way through this opening, like this very subdued opening credit, shall we say, where
it doesn't have the normal credits, does it?
Doesn't.
It literally has the
it's just showing
unique
him
credits
farming.
for the episode.
It's showing him farming and being called on his communicator with a Delta logo, and he eventually just throws the communicator away.
Yeah.
And then when they're boarding the shuttle to go deliver the blood wine, we see that Mariner contacts him, but he just throws a knife at the screen. And his brother, I love his brother, because his brother has got that California laid back dude stoner vibe, and I absolutely love it. And what I love is pimp the shuttle out with horns as well. So when they go deliver the blood wine, the horns get caught on the side of the building, and and they end up crash landing. And it's just like, oh, special delivery. But I love the fact we need to talk about the scene in the bar, because a very special guest, and not a lot of people know is.
Well, where we get a very special guest, but we also get Klingon metal, where we get like
we get Klingon
with the thrash lute.
We get Klingon thrash with a thrash accordion and a thrash lute, which is
it's so good,
amazing. But the female, who is Kalara, who flirts with Mach.
Yeah.
That is Mary Chieffo, who was Chancellor L'Rell in Star Trek Discovery. And a slight plug, you can see myself and Mike interview Mary Chieffo this week on the Clone Star podcast, where we discuss this very episode that she was in, as well as her time in Star Trek Discovery. Plug over. But this was an amazing scene, because the Klingon band, where he's just sat there and he's just doing this with the accordion, and it's just like, this is Klingon as fuck. But this is Klingon where they love opera, so of course they're gonna love like this type of music as well.
I love the whole thing. Like, it's the fact of, like, when they're making the wine delivery, the barman's just like, we need that delivery. These drunks are too sober to brawl. And then we get it where, like, obviously they're discussing it, and they're discussing it with this female Klingon who's basically. They're having a discussion about how she still wants to get with the captain, even though he's not a captain anymore and whatnot, and she believes in him and stuff. But then it all gets interrupted when Mariner and Boimler come in, and Mariner being her typical self and basically sort of taking the mick out of everything. Yeah, that's it. It's like, and then Boimler has finally grown a slight beard, where he now actually has a pencil mustache, which is better than the bum fluff that he had in the previous episodes, which is quite good. But it's just I do love, though, there has this whole scene, and then it's like the Klingon's brother basically turns to Boimler and just goes, "This human is full of words."
Yeah. And he's been thrown about, and Boimler is something has happened in Boimler because he's just like, the Klingon just thrown me, and you can just see him getting the shit beaten out of him in the background as they're trying to talk.
I think this is the thing. It's like this is the development we're getting on Boimler, where he's taken the lessons from episode 1, where he's gone, hey, this is what I need to do to succeed, and then he's gone on the mission with Ransom, where he's effectively like, a red shirt or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's actually just gone, hey, actually, I'm quite enjoying being dangerous, and so it's kind of an evolution of character, I think.
So he's going through a Klingon phase,
Yeah.
and Mariner explains that they're there because they were there to deliver a Klingon skull to
Yeah.
their bone museum, because of course. And now that she's done that, she wants to help Mach get his captaincy back. And in order to do that, they need to go to the
Klingon Oversight Council.
the Klingon Oversight Council in order for Mach to get his captaincy back. And when they go there, well, before they go there, Boimler says that they can enact a ancient rule where he can essentially, what was it, challenge the right of conscription or something like that?
No, it's not. He basically has another one where he's allowed to basically prove himself as a warrior in a way to get his command back. So, So rather than challenging the accusations against what lost him as a captain, he can basically go, hey, I'm still worthy of being a captain through these. And their trials of basically physical endurance and sacrifice and whatnot.
Yeah.
So the first one, and then basically, the head of the council is the one who kicked him off, and he's very much kind of, I'm not wanting you to come back, and I'll do everything in my power to stop you getting back. But then the other members of the Oversight Council are like, no, let him have a go with this kind of thing. So they're deliberately making it the most difficult thing in the world. So what they do is they basically go, hey, you need to do the challenges, but with 3 other people in a team of like 4. And obviously they have Mariner there, they have Boimler there, and then Mariner goes out and grabs the brother and goes, okay, cool, you're going to do this as well. So the 4 of them then have to go through these Klingon challenges, which is basically the plot of the episode.
Yeah, the brother refuses at first. He's like, I do not care for my brother. And he's just like, you will care for 1,000 Darsecs. And he's just like, let us do this. And I love the fact they brought back the pain stick walk in the Next Generation. Well.
That was one episode, wasn't it? It's so deep-seated in Klingon lore now, and yet it was just one episode.
It was just one episode where each phase, there are 3 phases, and the voltage of the pain sticks increases up to 30,000 volts. And Boimler is just enjoying the fuck out of this, despite the fact it's like he's essentially being electrocuted. But they get through the final stage, which is like 30,000 volts, which is like too much for any person.
And I think it's really clever because it's been set up for them to fail, where it's the fact of no person can actually deal with 30,000 volts. But then Boimler points out, like, hey, if we all team up together and we all sort of group together as one unit, then the 30,000 will be distributed between us and that we'll be able to handle it. And so after a bit of discussion, they do, and they all kind of group together and they manage to get through the challenge. And obviously, the Oversight Council leader is not very happy about this. I can't remember his name. Not very happy about this, but they still managed it, But then they get told that the next challenge is the next challenge is that one of the team has to be sacrificed.
No, it's to round up their targ.
Round up the big targ. Sorry, yeah.
And Boimler's just like, I've got this, and just immediately jumps on the pig. And he's just like, I think I'm catching him. And he's just been thrown about everywhere by it. But they end up, essentially, the brother says everyone needs to grab on to each leg. And Mach gets thrown into the electric fence on the perimeter of the ring. But they are able to hog tie the pig, the
targ.
And the leader is just like, you are not done yet. You must trim his nails and purge his anal gland. And he's like, ooh, anal glands, I can do this. And it's just like, and Mariner's just like,
about anal glands.
Yeah, and Mariner's just like, no. Clearly this is his pet pig, and he's trying to get us to groom him. So no, do that yourself. And she's like, you're just making up stuff now to try and like make us fail. And then the final bit is obviously he then has to sacrifice one of his crew, and he immediately turns around and goes, I choose to sacrifice myself.
because that way, in the Klingon logic, he will die with honor. So he
Yeah.
will regain his honor by dying in such a way as part of this challenge. But then what they work out is they work out how uh how skewed this all is, and then the next scene that we get with them is basically they're breaking into the council overlord's like office effectively, and then they challenge him to the right of conscription,
Yeah.
which is something they've made where basically they have a fight to the death, and then with a bat'leth and axe and whatnot, and then it means that yeah, and then the captain beats him, and then he yields, and so he goes, right, cool, okay, I force you to be conscripted to my crew, so you're the one I'm going to sacrifice on the crew. And then oddly enough, the guy changes his mind and goes, okay, maybe you don't need to do the whole thing.
But then stabs Mac in the back.
Yeah,
But this is one of the bloodiest episodes when you think about it, because we see Mac get stabbed in the back with the whatever it's called, the staff or whatever.
yeah,
And then he's just like, "You are a coward," and he just stabs him straight into his chest, and you just see him
yeah,
fall back onto the throne, and just pink blood just
yeah.
everywhere. And I'm just like, for lower decks, this is like a little bit gory when you think about
Well,
it.
I also like the fact of, because obviously I was joking when we did our review of, is it Undiscovered Country, where we had
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Klingons with purple blood, and we're like, Klingons have never had purple blood except for that one movie because they were trying to get a PG rating. And then I like the fact that Lower Decks is like, we're bringing that back. Like, it's not been a big thing really, but we're going to
We
keep them with purple blood.
we need to talk about my favorite scene, which is one of the Kronos scenes where the two bikers nearly hit, and
Yeah.
all you hear is "You experience beige, no, you experience beige." When I heard that, right,
Well, I didn't get it.
I
I was literally like, what?
this is such a deep cut, and this is why I love Mike McMahon. Experience beige is from the Star Trek The Next Generation VCR board game. Okay, where
Really?
where the actor that plays, I can't remember his real name at the moment, it escapes me, but the Gowron actor, he plays
Yeah.
another Klingon, but it's Gowron, shall we
Yeah.
say. And he's taken over the Enterprise and stuff like that, and he's set like the last remaining crew, the Enterprise, on tasks. And one of the things is experience beige, and it's sort of like a task
Yeah.
that's designed to fit, like designed to make you fail. And the fact that they referenced a 35-year-old VCR game that only a handful of people would remember is so fucking beautiful to me, because I sat there and I was
Wow.
just like, experience beige, and I loved it because it was one of my Twitch redeems with that, where it's just like experience beige. Joe will know what
I
I'm on
am.
about. Jake will
This
know
is
what I'm on about.
totally new to me. This is
It
totally new
is
to me. I love this.
absolutely. I heard that and I just died, because it was just so perfect, and it was just like a 5-second scene. I was just like, done. I don't need to watch the rest of the episode. This is perfect.
Good. Because I was
But
going to ask you about that. I will say that my favorite bit out of this plot line is like where Marinette accuses the councilman of just being like, "Hey, he's just fucking with us," and he just yells, "I'm allowed to fuck with you."
yeah, yeah.
It's just like it's just the plain honesty of it, and I
or
love
the
it.
or the bit in the bar scene in the earlier episode where like Kalara leaves and Marin's just like, "Whoa, what crawled into her boob window and died?"
There we go. And I love the fact that they're referring to the boob window, the thing that's always existed in Klingon culture with the Duras sisters and whatnot. The idea
Oh
of why do
god.
they have a boob window in their armor?
It's to entertain
And the fact
Paul.
it has a official canon name now of
The
boob
boob
window.
window. That's why Paul loves Klingons. But my favorite plot,
Oh
and
god.
your favorite plot of this episode, is the
Before we
fact.
started recording, we were literally just saying the word amuse-bouche over the top, over and
Amuse-bouche.
over.
It's an amuse.
Amuse-bouche.
It's an amuse-bouche of an episode, and we're just like, "What's amuse-bouche?" It is the plot line where Migliamo and the crew of the Cerritos are escorting two highly regarded Cloacan food critics
Sorry.
back to Cloaca.
I needed a moment when you find out that their race name is Cloacans,
Cloaca.
and they come from the planet Cloaca. And for
Cloaca
some reason-
Prime.
Cloaca Prime. Oh man, it's really good. Cloaca Prime.
Oh my god. And they are the most snobbiest douchebags. They are so bourgeois. And they prepare the first meal that they prepare is like Cerritos specialties, where it's just like a steak and it's mac and cheese, and sauce and stuff like that. And they're just like, oh, it's so bland. Why would you prepare this? And like he admits that it's replicated. She's like, you don't even cook. And he's like, no, I'm a psychologist. I'm a cook of the mind. And
I love
faints.
Yeah, she fainted. She's just like sort of, God, come over here and catch me as I faint dramatically. It's just the whole thing is like God, let us storm out of here. You know?
Oh, with the lights as well.
I love how like you're saying, how bourgeois these people are. I love how sort of like gauche they are, and it's brilliant the way they're done.
But Rutherford then says, well, maybe you can get back in their good books by actually cooking a meal and preparing a meal. So they devised to prepare one of the most like delicious meals to the Cloacans, and they make it all by hand. And I
can take it.
What? The Cloacans?
I can't.
You can't.
We need to stop calling them Cloacans because I'm just going to keep laughing.
But like, I love the fact that like Tendi dices and Miglimo's just like, excellent dicing. She's just like, trade assassin. And they make a broth and everything like that, and they prepare this homemade difficult meal, and they do candles, they dim the lighting because they've complained about the fluorescence of the starship and how no one hoovers on the ships or anything like that.
And the meal's called a marine hogfish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a marine hogfish, and they literally take, the tiniest morsel of a berry off the tongue of this fish.
Well, this is what I love, though, and this is like the attention to detail you get, is that the way that they get the food is they have a little knife thing that's like a little beak where it goes and bites off a bit of the food, and then they chew it by putting it down, and then they put it in their mouth, as though they're basically having to chew their food and regurgitate it into them using this device like birds do. It's so clever, just that this is a random part of their culture.
Yeah, and they're just like, again, it's bland, and they're like, have you not heard of salt? And he's like, it's covered in salt, and he ends up getting arrested. And his family loses their place in the great seating chart.
See, this is the thing. It's the fact of like, this is the final series, but they're basically going, let's flesh out these races that we haven't had, like the Cloacans and Miglimo and stuff. And I just love that they got an episode to kind of flesh out and go, this is why this guy is such a dickhead, because this is his culture, you know?
Yeah, and I love it though, because obviously he's arrested, and then when they're taking him down to Cloaca Prime, and it's just like, you will have your final meal before you are taken to prison, where they don't even have butter, and he's like, a fate worse than death. But this is where they say they've prepared an amuse-bouche. What's an amuse-bouche? Can someone explain what an amuse-bouche? Are we too northern to know?
Comment below what an amuse-bouche is. I don't even know how you spell it in order to Google it. You know.
Are we like too common and too northern to know what this delicacy is?
Amuse-bouche.
Is it
I
a
love
buffet?
it. I need one now.
An amuse-bouche. I tell you what. No, I won't.
But we'll do it later.
Yeah,
but yeah, comment below.
below.
But either way, it's the fact of like this is like before he goes to jail, his last meal is an amuse-bouche. So yeah. But what they have is when they get off the ship, they all get offered, like the guards of the prison basically offer the critics like some oysters, and
Yeah,
they basically go, hey, have these oysters, and then they eat them, and then they're just like, oh, these are delicious, oh, these are the greatest oysters we've ever had, and then Mariner basically steps out and goes like, haha, no, it's not Mariner, is it?
Freeman.
Yeah,
Freeman.
it's like Freeman steps out and goes, aha, we tricked you. This is actually just shit. This is
Literal horse
literal
manure. Yeah,
literal manure
because
that we've got.
Tendi was researching their last reviews, and everything had just been like really bad. Especially one where Migley Moore goes, "Well, how can that be bland? It's one of the most delicious delicacies in the entire galaxy." So
Yeah.
they set a trap to basically test the taste buds of these two critics,
Mm.
and they get the oysters from the guards and then do something and then pass them over. And what they've actually done is replace the oysters with horse shit. And
And yeah, and then
yeah,
they can't tell the difference. So basically, and then the critics have to sort of come out and they puff their feathers up in fear, as
yeah,
birds are wont to do, and they basically admit that they've lost their sense of taste. They can't actually taste anything anymore, so they were just kind of guessing or sort of going on nothing,
yeah.
which is a massive deal to the greatest critics in the galaxy or in their race to not having a sense of taste anymore.
And Migley Moore, who was the cook of the mine, deduces that the stress of being a food critic has resulted in them actually losing their sense of taste, and they need to go under intensive therapy in order to
Mm.
regain that. So they agree for Migley Moore to help them. But it is my favourite storyline of this episode because we get Migley Moore's race fleshed out, and we get just
Mm.
amazing performances all the way through, and we just get the phrase amuse-bouche, which I absolutely love. Why is it the last two seasons? Because last season it was you don't have to throw up in my mouth twice, and now it's amuse-bouche. I love Migley Moore so much.
It's such a bizarre character, and I absolutely love it. I mean, the thing is, I don't know which is my favorite plot line from this episode because I think they're both really, really funny. Like, I love
Yeah.
the snobbery of the critics, but I also love the Klingons and whatnot. And you have stuff like "I'm allowed to fuck with you," but in the other one, right at the end, when you get it, where the captain's got his rank back and whatnot, and they're still on the farm, and then the brother basically sort of manages to gets loads of bones to customize their new ship with, but then trips over them, and then off screen you basically hear him say, "Help, brother, I'm fallen on the bones." And then just as it's fading out, he yells, "I can see Kalis, but the original
The
one."
original one, he does impressions.
which is which is the most bizarre reference to the sort of like not the cloned Kalis from like
Oh,
DS9, you know?
but we also realised that the true intentions of Mariner and Boimler being there was that they needed to study a quantum fissure that had appeared in Klingon space, and the leader of the council wouldn't allow any Federation presence. So by Mach offing him, they
Yeah.
were allowed to gain access to study these fissures, which turn out to be deliberately made. They are not natural space anomalies.
Which
So
is
this is
continuing the plot of the season.
so this is the I would say, very minor at the moment overarching plot that we've got for season 5. So it'll be very interesting to see what this is and what it entails.
Yeah.
But for now, we have had two absolutely amazingly funny episodes
Yeah.
with wonderful deep cuts. I mean, experienced beige. Not even Science Officer Synoiz knew that.
Yeah.
And it's just, honestly, go to YouTube after you've seen this episode and just put in experience beige or Star Trek VCR game, because the whole thing is on YouTube, and it's just
Yeah.
amazing just to see this Gowron character just look at you and just go, experience beige. And it's just, no one knows what it is exactly,
Yeah.
but it's a thing, and it's a Star Trek thing. So they've made that canon. now.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are two fantastic episodes of Lower Decks. They are hitting it out of the park with the last 4 episodes. Episode 5 next week is set to be an amazing episode, but we can't discuss it just yet because of a cheeky little embargo. But we will be here next week reviewing that episode. Is there anything else you want to add off the back of these 2 episodes? Nothing?
I'm totally done. I think we've done everything. I'm still laughing about Cloaca, but it's been both these episodes are absolutely amazing, and I love Lower Decks.
It was an amuse-bouche of a review of season 5, episode 3 and 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks. So without further ado, I would like to thank my wonderful co-host, Science Officer Synoiz, for being
Hello,
here.
I'm Ringo Starr.
Sorry. Oh no, oh god. We will be back next week on Trekkin Up North to review episode 5. It will be another recorded episode, so we apologise for that, but we have hectic schedules. You can see Synoiz all over the place. He does the Nerdy Up North quizzes, he does Twitch, the links below to the Velvet Snatch and the Velvet Snatch YouTube channel. Will he be twitching anytime soon, or is that a no?
Probably not. We'll work it out. Great. I really want to get back to it, but yeah, no idea.
You can find me, obviously, on Trekkin Up North. You can find me on the Clone Star podcast and The Search for Trek, where I do On This Stardate with Captain Goodwill. And soon, very soon, once I get things cleared, I will be starting the Search for Trek Twitch, where my first game will be Star Trek Elite Force, the age-old PC game from nearly 25 years ago. That is horrifying because I remember playing that brand new. But without further ado, I have been Captain Goodwill. He has been Science Officer Synoiz. I want you all, especially right now, look after each other, take care of yourselves, and as ever on Trekkin Up North, Miles.
Amuse-bouche?
Miles.
Amuse-bouche.
Do you have an amuse-bouche?
I'm allowed to fuck with you.